Hi, I'm Dr. Marian Pearson, and I am from Elite Care Pediatrics. I'm here with Erica Moss, and she is from Womb to Walking, and we are just excited to present to you some really great information about sensory experiences. Erica, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Definitely. My name is Erica, as she said. I am the founder of Womb to Walking. It is a home health pediatric company based mostly infancy through about 5 years old, targeting milestones, developmental delay, torticollis, flathead syndrome, sensory issues, and overall general delay.
I love it. We need so much in the way of support systems around kids and families, and so thank you for being part of this healthcare journey with us.
Definitely. I'm glad to be here.
Today is the Sensory Hour, and the Sensory Hour we are talking about comforting and connecting. So thanks for joining us. We will hopefully answer some commonly sort of thought through questions and issues that parents kind of talk about and wonder about, and then hopefully we'll present some information that people have not yet thought through.
Very good. Let's get started.
Well, starting with swaddling.
Yes.
We get a lot of questions in general pediatrics about swaddling. Should you swaddle? Should you not swaddle? How do you swaddle? Should you use a swaddle device? Should you just use a blanket? What's safe? What's not safe? What position should you swaddle in? So let's just start with swaddling. Why do you think parents should consider swaddling?
So I would say, first and foremost, we have to figure out what's best for our babies. A lot of babies love swaddling. The reason being is because it mimics that positioning in the womb. They want to have that tight knit, that close positioning, because that's what they were so used to before they were born. So then they are born and they automatically have all this sensory stimulation and feedback that they don't know how to manage. They don't know how to kind of break it down in things and integrate it. So giving them a nice snug swaddle here up on top allows them to have that snug feeling that they had in the womb, that closeness. And it helps also to inhibit that newborn startle reflex, right? What we call the Moro reflex in medicine, but commonly to parents is that startle reflex. So that swaddle helps to inhibit that startle reflex so that they can sleep longer durations. They can get a little bit deeper sleep and go from there.
I'm so glad you mentioned the Moro reflex, because the Moro reflex is a primitive reflex, and that's M-O-R-O.
Yes.
I always share with families that part of the Moro reflex that every neurologically healthy baby is born with is a flail, a feeling like they're falling, we assume, and then a cry. And so people feel like sometimes, they don't like being on their back because they're crying and waving their arms, but really, they're just witnessing the full circle of the Moro. It's just a feeling like you're falling, a flailing of your arms, and the last part of the reflex is a wail. So anyway, I love it that you brought that up, and the swaddle kind of inhibits that whole reflex arc from happening. So if we can interrupt that, then we inhibit or prevent that wailing or that cry that people associate with kids not wanting to be put down, when really it's just their Moro reflex. And so a reflex that'll go away. So thank you for bringing it up.
That makes sense, because a lot of parents do feel like as soon as they lay the baby down, they cry and then they pick them back up, right? So that kind of connects together in terms of, okay, well, if I swaddle them and then lay them down, they already have that tight-knit feeling, so maybe it does work with inhibiting that and getting that deeper sleep.
I love it. I love it. So we talked about comforting, mimicking that snug, warm, comforting position that they had in utero, a bit of sensory feedback just from that calming loop, inhibiting the startle reflex, keeping their hands from slapping themselves in the face. That's one other benefit to swaddling, because we know those little hands are going everywhere. And babies were moving in a fluid environment, and so now that their hands are moving in an air environment, they don't have that resistance, and sometimes they can, get a little wild with those hands. And so as we tuck those in, they're not going to hit themselves in the face or scratch their eyes,
sharp nails.
or whatnot. Yeah, for sure. Everybody knows those nails are super hard to manage sometimes. But anyway, that's a great one. Side note, you say babies don't have to be swaddled. Is that?
They don't. It can be helpful for most babies, but there are some babies that just prefer to move. So some babies, you put them in the swaddle and you say they aren't sleeping as good. It's okay, as long as their temperature regulation is stable, because that is another benefit from swaddling, especially those young babies, is their body is still working on those physiological responses, that temperature regulation and everything. So if we have those that already have their temperature regulated, they're healthy babies, they don't seem to be startled as often, they don't have to be swaddled. It's a helpful tip that we can do, but it's not a you have to do this.
And sometimes I feel like parents do feel obligated, like I don't know how to do the swaddle, and why don't I know how to do the swaddle? And surely me not swaddling them is a problem, but we say, you know what? Some babies like it, some babies don't. Some parents like to swaddle, some parents don't want to swaddle. And so again, it's preference, parent preference, baby preference. Okay.
Yes, I agree.